Hello, 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 hello. So, today we are making digitigrade legs because I made this a little while ago for a project that didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, but doesn't have a body anymore. So, I have this fawn head who needs a body. So, using body. I don't know why I have a headless body in my box of dolls. There's presumably now a bodiless head, but I'll deal with that in another project. So, here is, you see it? There we go. The concept art for the character. And then I kind of drew out what the plans are for how I'm going to make all of the pieces. Note to self, if you're showing off art on stream, draw on a darker pen. So, I have a mask. The first thing to do is to grab a pencil. And draw out exactly where I'm cutting the legs off. Probably about there, because I want to keep the knee joint. I want to have something to connect the rest of it to. But pretty much the rest of the legs are all going to be sculpted separately. And I'm going to keep the rest of the legs, but I'm not going to use them for this project. Because I know a lot of doll customizers like to just add another joint in the middle of the leg, but I prefer the sort of more freedom of design you get with making it out of wood and bamboo, and then sculpting over with clay, because you get a lot more freedom because you can carve down the wood and do all that with the design choices. So, I have a hacksaw, removing legs. I'm also wearing a mask. We good? Slipped a little bit, but we're good. Cutting through pretty well. It doesn't have to be completely a straight cut because I'm going to sculpt onto that. Yeah, I know a lot of doll customizers also use a Dremel for this, and I do have a Dremel that I could be using, but this works better on stream and I think is more precise personally. But that might just be because I don't really know how to use a Dremel. I might turn off the camera real quick and finish this because I like doing things on camera, but it's a little bit difficult to do that with the hacksaw. So, there we go. Alright, I'll be back in a second. I got that mostly done. I'm probably gonna finish the rest of that off camera because it takes a while. But yeah. Use a small hacksaw, or I'm pretty sure I've heard it referred to as a jeweler's saw, to cut through that. And building joints. Start with, I need to drill a hole here. Also, the pieces of wood I'm using are larger than the finished appendage is going to be, because this way I have room to carve down. Boop! Now I have something to drill on so I don't drill into my table. I'm just using a hand drill, because you can use a full drill for this, but you have sort of a higher chance of splitting the wood, because that's the problem with working with pieces of wood that are this small, is because they split, and they'll split right down the middle, and then you'll have to start over. I've had that happen a couple times while I'm doing this. Ideally, I'd also like to have ankle joints be sculpted to be fully articulated, but I can do joints that small, like I did on Dandelion's little individually articulated toes. But the thing about the toe joints is that those aren't load-bearing, whereas the ankle joints would have to hold pretty much the weight of the whole doll, even if I used a stand. So I have to make sure that those are really strong. And then bamboo skewers stick through, make that joint. Need to widen this hole a little bit. I usually just do that. Kind of scraping along the edges. I know there's a tool for this. I know there's a tool for this because I've worked with a tool for this before, but I don't own one. Yeah. And I don't have a drill bit that's the same diameter as my skewers, which is kind of unfortunate. Yep. I haven't streamed in a while, and I was planning on streaming this Monday, but around the time when I was gonna start streaming, there was a power outage where I live. So I wasn't able to do that. Which is, again, kind of unfortunate. I have a slightly bigger drill bit I'm gonna go to make the hole a little bit bigger and hopefully big enough for the skewer. And on previous body mods, I've just done super glue to hold it, but I would like to get some epoxy glue. Try working with that for that purpose, but I'm not sure how well I could do that, and it seems a little bit more expensive for materials. I'm hoping next year, it's a little bit late in the year to sign up this year, but I can bring some of my projects to a local convention for the art show. Because I don't think I've been to that convention a few times, and I don't think I've seen anybody doing things similar to what I'm doing here. There we go. So I'm just making a hole through the wood so that slots onto the skewer. So then if I do that on some more pieces of wood, I need 3 pieces for this. And then I'm gonna have just the 1 piece on the lower leg, and then 2 on the hooves. Because you have to alternate it, right? In order to keep it balanced, you have to have, because you're slotting them in between each other, right? So you could do this, but that doesn't keep it quite even. So then you need to have like this. And then one of the pieces is going to be wider than the others. And I'm going to do that for the hoof on this one because that seems practical. That's going to be already a slightly clunkier piece. It can be a little bit heavier because it's the piece on the bottom and it should be able to hold the weight. Whereas the pieces on the top here need to be lighter so that they're easier to hold by that piece on the bottom. So yeah, you can kind of see how this works. I might at some point replace the dowels work really well for smaller joints, but I know that for bigger joints they're going to be a little bit unstable. And I've seen people use just screws, just screw it together loosely. And that seems like a good idea, but once again, hardware I do not currently have, and it seems to work okay for the joints that I'm making here, not doing that. This one needs to have 2 holes in it. This is sort of the shin, I guess. And then it has to have 1 hole on the one end and the other on the other. So, once you have these, which is the holes drilled in them, X-Acto knife to shape it down. At this point, you're just kind of whittling. The big pieces that you have to cut off, you can just score it and then it splits pretty easy. But you have to be careful because you don't want to split the wood around where the hole is. It's a little bit safer on these ones because these get glued because you just need to have the one mobile element in the middle. So it's okay if these ones split a little bit. This one did a little bit right there. But that should still be fine. It's the one in the middle that you have to be really careful with. The first time I did that, I went through like, 3 or 4 popsicle sticks for that middle joint. Because it kept breaking and I had to I had to restart. Side note, I drilled these holes too far in, and now I'm paying the price and the fact that it takes a lot more whittling. Get that down. There we go. Gotta keep myself in shot here. It's not a struggle I'm used to having. I'm still fairly new to this. No, I gotta stay in shot. I have a couple more ideas for streams and things planned. So I'll probably keep updated on the Twitter about what I'm gonna be doing. And I might try doing Twitter polls, but I don't know if I have enough followers to make that effective. For what video would you like to see next out of my list of ideas for videos? I am doing something a little bit easier, or easier for me rather, where after I stream I take notes of, here's a moment that would probably go good in a compilation of X. I have a couple ideas for those, but I need more content before I can do that. So that's split there, but that's fine. Doesn't seem fine, but it's fine, because that's going to be glued. So it still has the hole for the thing to hold into. It's fine. I definitely didn't just make a horrible mistake. The good news is I made a mistake on the part that I'm allowed to make a mistake on. So it won't ruin anything. I hope. Probably. Very careful. Oh god, that's a horrible noise. I will refrain from making that noise. I will try to save you the problem. Usually you only get that when cutting styrofoam. Sort of screaming noise. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So then, width-wise, measuring in comparison to the leg that's already there. We cut down to, yeah, about there on that end. And then length, this should be a shorter one. It's on the outside. So probably about there. I will cut all the way through it by repeatedly scoring it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've only ever actually done this one other time. I only have one other doll that's required me to do this. And hopefully I'll get better at it as I go, and not have that happen, because that sucks. Hopefully I'll get better at it as I go. Yeah, because the wood grain goes this way. It cuts really easy even when you don't want it to, so it kind of split there. Which I have had happen before. The good news is this is on a piece that it's not a big deal and I don't have to go do the other thing. Sorry, I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles here, but that's just the way my brain works, so I'm going to be continuously talking in circles. I have a one-track mind, except it doesn't actually go anywhere. Yeah. I was meaning to stream a little bit more lately, but I have been so busy. I've been so busy trying to get things worked out with the college and all of that. I sent way too many emails today. And most of it was trying to get administration in contact with other administration. Which is weird, because you'd think they'd all talk, but apparently no. There's that. Cutting it down here. Yep. Yeah. I'm sure if streaming ever becomes more of a work thing, I'll probably stream a little bit more often, but right now it's sort of a fun thing that I do. It's not... Technically, I'm not currently getting paid for anything and not for this yet. I'm working on that. I don't have a bank account. There have been some issues with getting a bank account because of the current state of the world. So that means I have to go to a bank. That means I have to sort out some pre-existing issues, but working on that. So yeah, this is kind of what I do for fun. Which sounds a little bit sad, but it is. That's just true. That's just true. It's a little bit difficult doing this because I have to keep my hands in shot and my head out of shot. And I'm trying very hard to look very closely at this while I'm working. Good news is that I've gotten, I think, good enough at working with the X-Acto knife not to cut myself on it. That's a skill that takes a lot of work and a lot of band-aids to build. Whittling tiny things without cutting your hands. Here's that piece. Now I need to make another one of those. And then I need to make like 4 more of those and a long one, because this is also about the same size and shape that I'm going to want the hooves to be, except those are probably going to be cut on an angle to make the platform piece, which is going to be a little bit difficult to work with, but I think I can do it. I just started talking very fast, and I'm not entirely certain why, so bear with me. Yes, to ramble some more about something that's a little bit closer to the point. I say the point as if I have a point, but I don't really. But I'd probably still be filming these even if nobody was watching them, to be honest. It's just fun. But I'm glad that people are enjoying my weird little hobby. I don't think, like, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's anybody else doing... I know there are people doing miniature figures on Twitch, but I don't think I've seen anybody else doing doll customization specifically. That mostly happens on YouTube. By the way, there are some doll customizers I should plug, not because I'm, like... They don't know I exist, but I watch their stuff, and that's what inspired me to get into this, so... But... I don't think there's really anybody doing this on Twitch, and I always kind of wanted to get into the YouTube and Twitch stuff. Because I was a teenager when that got big, and I was really interested in it. So I started doing the doll customs off of that, and then I just sort of... I met somebody who was also Twitch streaming. Which was, can I tell you, very weird, because, like... I had never met somebody who does actual content creating and has a decent following before. Like, I met somebody who had just made affiliate, and that's not that big, I've come to know, but it is to me, because I had never known somebody who was actually, like, making money off of that and turning it into a thing. So that's sort of, oh, wait. Made me think, oh, wait, you can do that. That's a thing that people do. And it doesn't cost much money to get started. So, I kinda... What do I make that might be worthy of streaming and making videos and having a general kind of presence on social media? And doll stuff. So, I started doing that. So anyway, that's the story of how I got here. I don't know why I just started telling you that out of nowhere, but hey. That's where my brain went, so you got to go there too. That's how a lot of my videos get made. That's where my brain is going, so you're welcome to come with. I think I should, in future, because I try to improve things whenever I can, but in future I should make more finished concept art of my characters, or of my dolls, and all of that, and my projects. And I should have that up as my pre-stream screen and all of that. Because that sounds like fun. And I might, once I started actually more really working on and finishing dolls on here, because I have like 3 different projects going, but once I have them all, once I get one of them completely done, I might make a compilation video of, because I already have the footage, right? So of, here is me making this. And I'll probably end up time-lapsing that footage, if I want to make a decent video out of, here is the process of how I made this doll. So I'll probably time-lapse the stream footage and maybe do a voiceover for that. I also need a better cover for my table than, like, several sheets of paper. Because it works, but it's not pretty. I've considered maybe I'll make a fabric cover. Which is not hard, but I just need to get the fabric for it. Because then that could be washed, because this has stains on it right now, because I haven't switched out the pieces of paper, because I haven't used the pieces of paper, really, and I feel a little bit bad about just throwing them out, because environment. But if I make it out of fabric, I can just throw it in the washer if it gets dirty. Yeah, that's where that sentence was going. I got there. Fabric, I can just throw it in the washer. Woo. Yeah, that's where that sentence was going. I got there. Yeah. kind of keeping a document of what all my plans are for my channel and all of that. And I have some plans that are like, here's something I could do that would take, like, maybe a couple of minutes to complete. And it would improve my streams. And then I have some projects that are like, here's something I can do someday in the distant future when I have time or money or enough of a fan base to make that worth happening. Because if I were to do... Once again, this is not going to happen for a long while because I have, like, 25 fans. Yay! But if I get more followers and more opportunity to do stuff like this, if I were to do merch, I'd think I'd probably do stickers, because I make art, and that seems, you know, logical. Probably stickers of some of my art will be available someday. Sorta... I think I've said this before on camera, and I've definitely said this before in real life, but any form of social media where you're making things and, like, gathering followers and doing all of the classic social media stuff it's a lot of shouting into the void. And then eventually people will start to listen, and then that's where you get fans. Because I'm pretty sure I've had streams where I've had 0 viewers for most of it. Which, I mean, it's recorded and it goes up on YouTube, so it's not really a waste. But... that is the definition of I'm just kind of... yeah, shouting into the void and maybe somebody's listening. That is the definition of I'm just kind of... yeah, shouting into the void and maybe... I'm innovating my process here a little bit. So if this is as wide as most of them are going to be, that is about half the width of this. So if I cut it in half, I will already have the right size for that. Innovating my process here a little bit. I think I just said a sentence that makes sense. And I'm a horrible judge of that. I very often just talk, and me talking is basically me making noises and hoping they're words, and they usually are. Unless you catch me, like, off guard, or I get... I'm a horrible judge of that. Generally flustered. And then I just make sounds, because I'm trying to make words, but I've forgotten how to use my mouth. Making noises. That's not the right place. Whoops-a-doops. The other thing about streaming, especially with doll customizing, is that A, it takes a very long time to fully finish a doll, and also dry time is inconvenient when you're streaming. Because you don't want to have to wait for things to dry on stream, so you end up doing it kind of step by step like I am here. Where it's, I'm going to do this, and then looking at the time currently, I'm probably going to have to do the sculpting with the clay, which you put on top of this. Because this is just bones. But I'm probably going to have to do the sculpting in a separate thing, wait for that to dry, do maybe another sculpting stream where I'm touching it up. And it generally takes a long time. And the thing with doing these on YouTube is that you have plenty of time to, like... The sentence is going somewhere, I know it is. You can have that time because people aren't really watching live. And it just occurs to me that what I just said is kind of not what I... Okay. I'm gonna try saying that again. The thing with putting content on YouTube that has a lot of time in between things and all of that is that you have the opportunity to do a lot more editing. So it might be a week-long process for you, but to the people viewing, it's like maybe some text in the corner of the screen saying a week later. Which is kind of the advantage, I guess, of doing this stuff on YouTube, is that you can do time-lapse and you can do time jumps. Whereas when you're streaming, you just have to do time. Which is a little bit inconvenient. I'm hoping what I just said makes sense and that I was building on it. And it wasn't just me saying the same set of words repeatedly. Won't know unless I listen to it back. People seem to like the poetry stream, or not stream, video I did. So I might do some more stuff like that. Which means you people have conned me back into getting into writing. Because I know I'm a pretty good writer, but I had so much going on, I kind of forgot. Ah! I broke. This is another end piece suddenly. That's the nice thing. Is that I can just change what this is suddenly, and now it's not broken, it's just, you know, it'll still work for the other function. Assuming I don't break it any further, and I don't think I did. Woo. Also kind of handy, now that it's getting on towards, like, summer. I'm pretty sure it is summer. I don't keep track of that. I know that there are official days when the seasons change, but who has those memorized? But now that it's either late spring or summer, I think it's summer. I'm not entirely certain. It looks like summer and it feels like summer. It's so hot out. Oh God, please help me. But I have dropped something. But it's, I have natural light now. So I'm not just relying on the ring light built into my camera or the lights in the room. Which is nice. I like natural light for this kind of thing. It works well. There we go. Guest appearance from birds. Who have honestly nothing to complain about. They've been fed recently. I even cleaned their cages today. You have nothing to be upset about. No. Ah, but it's the evening scream time. birdies are very loud, but I love them. Even if I'm not sure they love me. If only because they express every emotion through biting. So it's like, I don't know if you're biting me as thanks for doing you a favor, or if you're biting me because you want me to leave. Because you don't know how to preen people, so you just bite. It's like, I don't know if you're trying to bite me or if you're trying to preen me, but you don't know how. And that's how I got a lot of the scars on my hands. I'm much more talkative today than I usually am on stream. Not entirely certain why, but I'm liking the energy. And I'm trying to keep myself in frame, I really am. But I'm doing very delicate work here, and I'm focusing on cutting the wood and not cutting my hand, and I'm not focusing on where the camera is. So I'm sorry if I leave frame. There we go. That seems okay. Now we do that again. And hopefully this time, I don't make the same mistake twice. I prefer not making the same mistake twice. But sometimes I do. Oh, yeah, that's another thing that happened. Not really related to any of what I'm doing here, or generally me streaming or all of that, but the garden that I have been working on, we have radishes. We have a harvest of fresh radishes, which are going to become pickled radishes. And that's the first harvest of radishes, and there are more growing in, so we'll have pickled radishes all winter, which is great. I love pickled radishes. I also just love radishes. That's why I always grow them. Best vegetable. My sister has been growing herbs this year, so we have a lot of dried herbs to go into cooking, which is amazing. Once again, my family has turned me into kind of a, purist for foods. The thing is, we had a bread maker growing up, and my mom would always make a, like, loaf of fresh bread. I broke it. God. Okay. Starting again. I need to get better at this. But my mom would always make fresh bread, like, literally every morning. So now I realize that this is why I think store-bought bread is horrible. Because I was raised with high standards of what bread should be. And I have to say, I hate to have that happen again, but homegrown spices and herbs and such are so much better than store-bought ones. Because the flavor retains so much nicer. Even when they're dried. There we go. That's in frame and braced against the tripod so I can drill the hole without it swinging around. Yay! also growing, like, tomatoes and such. We're growing so many tomatoes. We're probably going to have to make some of them into a sauce to jar, because otherwise these tomatoes are going to go bad because there's too many of them, and you can only eat so many tomatoes while being a healthy person. We may have made a mistake buying 4 tomato plants, because tomatoes make a lot of tomatoes. That's why they're such a good plant to grow. But also, you end up with so much produce, and if you can't use it all, it makes problems. Yeah. There's a lot of farmers markets near where I live, so hopefully we can get some tomatillos and turn some of those tomatoes into a salsa. Also, you're not allowed to sell things out of the community garden, which makes sense, but my sister is organizing some trades. Because there are a couple things that we would like to have grown, but we didn't have space, and there are a couple things that friends of ours would like to have grown, but didn't have space in their garden. So if we give you a lot of tomatoes, will you give us some dill? Please. We don't have any. Also not growing peppers this year, which is a little bit disappointing. But I'm the only person in this family who eats peppers, except for, like, person who's currently living in a different state. His middle sister is was off at college and is now off doing professional things, which I am very proud, but means I can't have peppers. Because the person who I share my peppers with isn't here. Yeah. Nice thing is that when she comes over, we have, like, 4 dogs in the house. Which is ridiculous. And a lot of fun. And oldest sister is also looking into getting herself a place. Got potentially a really great job opportunity, and I'm really happy about that. Really proud of her. But if she gets her own place, she said that she's probably going to get, like, a corgi. Which means that if we have a family reunion, there will be 5 dogs in the immediate family. We have to have a custody debate about one of them, because Kiri was supposed to be oldest sister's dog. Has kind of turned into dad's dog. Reminding myself to refer to them as middle sister and oldest sister. And not by name, because I'm on the internet. And I have not gotten their permission to refer to them by name, so I'm not going to. Pretty sure I made that mistake once on an earlier stream, but it was one that didn't get recorded, so unless you were there, and the only people there were people I personally know, you do not know what their names are. Be honest with you, because it seems like I'm just talking about things right now, and, like, behind the scenes stuff a lot, but part of the reason why I haven't done a face reveal and why I don't intend to is because honestly it's easier for me to talk to, like, the screen instead of try to talk into a camera. Because I suck at eye contact and in-person conversations. Believe it or not, I am horribly awkward in real life. I try not to be online, but I'm not great at talking. So it's sort of easier to have camera up here, both for practical purposes, because I want to film what I'm doing, and also for, I'm just talking into a microphone and nobody can see what I'm doing. So I don't have to worry about my facial expressions when I'm filming these. Which is a win for me. Alright. I miscalculated something. Did I? I didn't miscalculate something. I thought I did, but upon further investigation, no. I forgot about this joint not being a joint, it just being where the mod connects into the sculpted detail. Working out how long I want this leg to be. It connects to hoof. Probably about there. Should be about the same length as the total. Maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, than the total length of the calf. Making the shin. Now here's where everything could go wrong. But I'm not thinking about that. Snap. Snap. Trim down the end. I've made a miscalculation, but I fixed it. Other thing about live streaming is that I have to be honest with how many mistakes have been made in this progress. I've made a lot of mistakes in this process, y'all. I've broken so many of these sticks so far in this stream alone. What's nice about doll customizing is that once you've done enough dolls, you figure out that the pieces that you use on the doll don't have to come from that doll originally. Which means, handy thing, if I make enough dolls that are like merfolk dolls or something along those lines, that either have handmade leg stuff or just no legs, I will eventually have enough legs to make a centaur doll. Without having to make all of the legs. Because I tried that. That was the original plan for this doll, was that I was going to sculpt on the back legs myself and make them like this, but the clay I'm using is too heavy and the sticks I'm using are not able to hold the weight. Maybe if I was using sturdier materials like a metal and an epoxy sculpt, I would have been able to pull that off, but alas, not today. I don't think I can afford those materials right now, and even if I did, don't feel like going to buy those materials, to be honest. Might pick up some epoxy glue, though. That seems good. A good progress to make. Oh god, I have to be so careful. Oh no, it's breaking. Please don't break. I need this to work. It broke. It has broken. And this is the middle part, so the hole needs to go all the way through and not do that, so... Take two! It takes so many takes to make these. Which is, again, why it would probably be easier to do this on YouTube rather than Twitch, but... I like the interaction. Which is weird, because I know I just said that I'm glad I'm not actually talking into a camera here. But, like, there's a difference between, like... I like being able to interact with you guys, although I'm not as good at talking in person, I guess, or in simulated person. Which means that, weirdly enough, while I'm not a person who really is enthusiastic about phone calls, it is a good way to contact me. Because I don't have to do facial expression thing. So, hey. That's just also talking into a microphone, except somebody's talking into a microphone back at you. So I guess a big part of sort of me deciding to do this is the fact that it's sort of... If a person doesn't want to watch my content, they don't have to. And that is nice. The fact that I know I'm not annoying people by talking. Because that's always something I'm a little bit afraid of in an in-person conversation, because you can't leave an in-person conversation if somebody's annoying you, really. Or rather, you can, but it takes some talent, almost, to do that without people noticing that you're leaving because somebody is annoying you. But if you're just watching my videos, or even on my stream, you can leave at any time, and I either won't know or won't really mind. So I know that the people who are kind of hanging out with me here are people who want to be here. Which is always nice. Also, that sort of train of thought takes a little bit of the stress out of the whole thing. Like, I usually, do get a little bit nervous, excited before I stream, because I wanted everything to go smoothly. But I know that things don't have to go perfectly, and that I'm allowed to mess up my talking and all of that, because, like I said, if people don't want to stay, they can just leave, and yeah. So that's kind of nice. I'm really psychoanalyzing myself for you here. I hope you're enjoying. Please don't break. Please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. I don't think it broke. Down these edges. Yeah. Live streaming's nice because it gets me something productive to do. Because I have some form of weird vendetta against not doing things. I hate sitting still and I hate having idle hands. That's why I'm a good person to have around the house, because if I don't have anything to do, I will sweep your floors. Out of sheer not having anything to do and not wanting to not have anything to do. Both a blessing and a curse. That means that I get everything done really quickly, but it also means that I don't know what to do when I've gotten everything done and I don't have anything left to do. Which, like, I realize that what I just said probably only makes sense to, like, a certain amount of people who can relate to that. It's probably neurodivergent. The reason for that, it's just, yeah. That's autism, baby. But I'm sure to people who don't know what I was just talking about, or, like, who can't really relate to that, what I just said probably sounds insane. I get everything done, and then I don't know what to do with myself. I'm trying something here. I will keep you updated on to whether or not it's working, or rather you will be able to see whether or not it's working. I'm drilling it half in one side and half in the other, because this one has this little point at the end, which gives it a nice pilot hole if you want to go in from the other side, I guess. And it keeps everything aligned. But maybe that will help? Stop me from breaking this? I don't know. Let's find out. Yeah. One of the things on my sort of to-do list, I guess, is that I want to take some of the character concept art that I've made and do an art stream, making that digital and finishing that. So I have sort of a nicer copy of the concept art, and I also have material for art stream. Wish me luck here, guys. I'm about to do the really scary thing. The thing that may or may not break everything. Please don't break everything. That would be a shame. Gotta do this a slightly different way. I figure if I keep doing this in slightly different ways, none of those letters were in the right order. Were they? Oh, I put too many R's in those words where they weren't supposed to be. But eventually, if I continue trying a bunch of new techniques for doing this, I'll find one that doesn't, or that works and doesn't break everything. Because historically, a lot of the things I've been doing here have been breaking everything. Which is unfortunate. I think it's probably always going to be a little bit inevitable that there's a chance that you're going to break everything when you're doing this process. Which is unfortunate a little bit, but... I shall persevere. Seems like just cutting straight across and kind of whittling it down. It should hopefully work. I don't know. Let's see. There we go. I've had one viewer this whole time. Oh, hello. I am making... Hello, faraway cookie. Digidegrade legs to go with this head to make sort of fawn legs. So I have these pieces and a skewer. So it goes like this. And there's a joint. Yeah. I've only ever done this once before, but hopefully it works out. I was gonna say, before Faraway Cookie jumped on, I've had one viewer consistently for this whole stream, and I'm beginning to wonder if it's the same viewer. Do I just have people jumping on and off at a fairly consistent rate, or do I have one very loyal person watching? I don't know. I kind of broke it. It's very hard to make one of these without breaking it a little bit, but I didn't break it that bad, so it should still work. Just kind of split there. So then I need to make two more pieces kind of like this to make the hoof piece. And then I'm probably going to end up gluing everything off camera because glue takes time to dry, and you guys have better things to do than sit here and watch glue dry. I probably also have better things to do than do that. Drill. Doot. Do it very slowly because that minimizes the risk of splitting the wood. I have found yes. No. That broke worse than the rest of them did. Try again. Should be a pretty fun build. Beyond all the drilling. Just once I get all these bones made. Look at that. That's kind of neat. Don't know how well you can see that, but there's little fibers in between it. But once I get all these bones made, you can see it there, I can start sculpting over top, which is the really fun part. For me, at least. And that really was not a superfluous, really. Because all of it's fun, but that's just the particularly fun part. Cutting off all of those little things stick off. yeah, I get to do all of the sculpting, which is fun because I have to sculpt in muscles. Make leg look like leg. Leg look like leg. It's kind of a tongue twister. Alright. Trying again. It's really just how I do all of my projects. I'm just trying again repeatedly until something works. I don't know what I'm doing, but it usually works out. Oh yeah, we're back to small tripod problem, which, if you were there for my first few streams, I have historically always had tripod problems, but I am now sharing this tripod with somebody else, so, because we only have the one, so I might want to get my own tripod, just so I can have tripod all the time. I'll have to go chase down tripod. Which, I don't mind sharing it, but it would make things easier if we each had our own. Because we're both trying to film things. I also kind of have new motivation not to get hurt while I'm doing this. Because, like, there's always motivation not to get hurt because getting hurt hurts. That was an unnecessary sentence. But, like, now if I get hurt, it'll be on recording. Minimize accidents. Because I'm recording. This one's gonna have to get whittled a little bit because it's the sort of base for the hoof. And that means that it's probably gonna end up being kind of slanted. And where did I put the piece that I spent forever making? There it is. Yep. Grab another one of these skewers. Pieces don't quite fit onto the skewers because I'm using a drill bit that's slightly too small because I'd rather it be slightly too small than slightly too big and make the joints loose. So I'm going to need to expand these a little bit, which is mostly done using a drill bit. Because as I'm pretty sure I said earlier, I don't have the tool There's a tool that you use where it hooks on and you just turn it in a circle and it cuts outward. I don't have one of those. I should figure out what that's called and put it on my list of things to acquire. So I don't have to do this with a knife. Almost. Blade's coming out. There we go. Buzz. Phone go buzz. Okay. We good. Also whittled down the skewer a little bit to fit. I'm starting with this piece because the other pieces just need to glue onto the end, but this piece needs to be mobile around the beam. Not talking as much now because I'm focusing on trying to get this to go. Getting closer. I don't know how to look up that tool though, because what's coming to mind is tool that makes holes bigger, and that's very vague. Vague. That's a weird word to say. I think I pronounced it about right though. Vague. I always used to mispronounce that one. I can't tell if I'm still mispronouncing that. There. Now it sticks on. It's still pretty firm, so it sticks up if I want it to, but it can slip around on there. Check it out. Yay. There, see? It just slots right onto the end there. And then I glue that in place. And then when I slip this on, that makes an end cap. And then I make another one of those, and this wedges in between. And that makes a joint. Boop. This is just the bones for one leg. I'm gonna have to do this all over again, and I may or may not stream it. I don't know yet. Because I'll just be doing the same process over again, and that might be boring. I don't know. Might request feedback on that once this video goes up on the YouTubes, which should be relatively soon. I'm trying to make that a fast turnaround, but videos take a while to upload when they're 1 or 2 hours long. I'm not even editing my stream recordings, really. I might if I do anything else, or I do with my regular content. Oh, the computer battery running low. Okay, give me a second here. I forgot to plug that in. Here we go. I keep forgetting to do that when I go on live stream, and streaming saps my computer's battery real quick. I mean, it's understandable. I'm streaming audio and video. For other people to watch, it makes sense why that'd take a lot of energy. My little laptop's trying so hard. Second one. It's actually almost better for these to have that split in the end, because it makes it so that they kind of grip on, instead of just relying on the wood to do that. I knocked my table there. You probably heard it. I apologize if that was loud. this one up a little bit more. Then let me assemble this. I can show you exactly what this is going to do. Here's what this is going to do. So then this piece connects to the calf, where the knee joint is, and that makes the ankle. And I'll also use clay to make it a firmer hold, in addition to gluing these pretty tight around there. So I just need to do that with this hole to make the toes. Technically it's the toes, but it's the hoof. Because weird anatomy. It's such weird anatomy. Get excited, I guess, though, because I got lots of ideas for new content, how I'm gonna film some stuff, and a couple things that are new kinds of content that I want to try. And if y'all like them, I can use them. No, not quite yet. Let's see if I can get a drill bit a little bit closer to the size. See what I can do. I gotta say, having more light now that it's not, winter, is helpful for making me be a little bit more awake on stream. Because I'm not locked in a dark room talking in a microphone. I have sunlight, and that helps. Help me be less tired. Granted, that might also have to do with the fact that I have less schoolwork. So I have less reasons to be tired. Although it's insane to me that I graduated high school. Like, I assumed it was gonna happen at some point. But that's a thing I did. I'm not in high school. I was in high school for so long. Like 4 years, but that's a decent chunk of my life. It's like over 1/5 of my life so far has been high school. Granted, that's not really a great way to think about it, because that will continue to go down as I get more life and less high school. I have to vacuum in here later. Got all this sawdust. I gotta say, vacuuming your desk, very unique experience. You don't think of that as being a thing you have to do until you do. If you've never vacuumed your desk before, I do recommend it, but I mean only if your desk has stuff on it to vacuum. I figure that's kind of a given with the vacuuming your desk thing. It's the most efficient way to get a bunch of sawdust off of your desk. And the floor. And yourself. You wouldn't think there'd be this much, though, because I haven't done much here other than, you know, this. I think that'd make less sawdust than it does, but it does. It makes a lot. Yeah. I haven't... This is just making the holes. I haven't even gotten to the point of sculpting down the shape, making that kind of thing. Usually with these sort of thicker parts around the legs, there's a little bit less sculpting the shape to it, but for like Sunflower's toes, there was a lot. I keep getting the name wrong. It's Dandelion, but for Dandelion's toes, I had to shape everything down into the shape of the claws and then cover that in a thin layer of clay. Because those are very small pieces. But the bones had to be shaped. Which I guess your bones are kind of U-shaped. You just never see them. This is a weird train of thought. But I'm not sure if I'm going to get off of it because this is kind of fun too. General musings about bones. I do like my bones. They do a good job making me a person. There's that piece, and then I need to make one more of these because the other one broke. Hey, wait a second. I have this one, which I can't use for one of those pieces because it broke that way, but it didn't break this way. So if I cut it in half, I'll have another one. Woo! That's nice. Snap. I'm getting better at snapping these, though, without, you know, snapping them. Or cracking them, rather. Because I'm supposed to be snapping them, but I'm not supposed to be cracking them. It has to be a clean break. Much like real bones, it's much easier if it's a clean break. I've broken a bone before. I wish I could say I broke a bone doing something cool, but I didn't. I broke a bone doing something that is actually really stupid. Not gonna tell you what, though, because it's so stupid. I am actually a little bit embarrassed that that's the one way I've broken a bone. I have a question. How am I hungry? I just had dinner. like an hour ago. Why am I always hungry? Like, I know a lot of people say that, but it's actually, like, mostly true for me. Hello, birds. Like, I'm always hungry. That's not that much of an exaggeration. I'm usually hungry. But maybe that's the fact that I'm a teenager. You know, you have to consider these things. It's very nice, though, because my metabolism's really high. So, like, if I get hurt, I heal pretty quick. Which is always handy. I need to open that up a little bit more. Hello, birdie burbs. I don't think I've introduced you to the birdie birds. I mean, you're probably not going to see them unless I post, like, a picture to my Instagram. But their names are Tiki and Gonzo. And Tiki also goes by the name Beakers. Because Tiki screams. Had them pretty much my whole life. Technically, those birds are older than I am. Because that's weird. Yeah, my parents had the birds before they had me. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure parents got the birds about the same time they got me, but the birds were already adults. I just realized I phrased that really weird. My parents got me. Like, they found me. No, they didn't. My brain mistranslated those words when I was making them into speakable English outside of my head. Sometimes that causes problems, though. The fact that I have to kind of translate things into proper English instead of my brain's vague thoughts. Because a lot of things translate the same but have very different connotative meanings. Just very different connotations for what those words mean. Turns out there's a big difference between folder and archive in connotations. And yet I always refer to my folders as archives. Pretty sure I have a folder called The Archive. That's just my old school notes. Which is nice to keep. No, it's not quite there yet. Alright, check it out. So then, that is a leg. Woo! We made a leg. Congrats. Heck yeah. Alright. So, I should probably end it about there because we got done with the assigned project for the evening. And it's almost been 2 hours. And that's one leg. I have to finish that leg and then I have to make a whole other leg. Which I may or may not do off camera because once again, I don't know how boring that would be to watch a second time when you've already seen it. Once you've seen the construction process for one leg, you've seen the construction progress for most legs. So, I hope you guys have a fun rest of your day or night. And I hope you guys had a good time here. I had a good time here. This video will go up on YouTube pretty soon. Wait, why am I doing this over this screen? I have just made this wonderful post-stream screen. So, yeah, my social medias are up on the screen now. Instead of learning to say my outro in one take, I just put my outro on a screen, so I don't have to. Which is fun. Okay. So yeah, I'll try to stream again soon. I don't have an estimate for when. Hopefully within a week. I don't know. Things might come up. They have been doing that a lot lately. Yeah. See you guys later.